Hi, I am the coach Dick Cox, and welcome to the Lindy Sports Post-Game Coaches Corner. Tonight's ball game between the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Kentucky Wildcats was supposed to be a measuring stick for Coach Shane Beamer's first South Carolina team here at South Carolina to see what direction the program was going in. South Carolina won week one against an inferior opponent from Illinois. Week two, they had a tough game on the road against East Carolina, but were able to come back and win that game. Week three, they went to Georgia to play between the hedges against one of the elite teams, the number 2 team in the country. But South Carolina, as expected, did not win that game. Georgia won big, but there were a lot of positive things coming out of the game that day of how hard South Carolina played, how physical South Carolina played, and how hard they played to the very end. So they took the things from that game, and the fans had a lot of excitement with that. And the Kentucky game was going to be pretty much a measuring stick against a Mark Stoops team that has established itself as an upper echelons team in the SEC East. So fans were really excited about the opportunity for the Gamecocks. A crowd of 77,559 packed into Williams-Brice Stadium, very enthusiastic about the game. And again, the South Carolina coaching staff was actually entertaining a lot of top recruits for the weekend too. So it was a big weekend for the Gamecocks. South Carolina in the game went toe-to-toe, or should I say claw-to-claw, with the Kentucky Wildcats. But the end result was, when it was all said and done, South Carolina missed out on several golden opportunities in this game, had a chance to win, but came up short by the score of 16-9. The Gamecocks defense pretty much kept them in the game throughout the game, and that's something unlike last year's defense that could not stop running water or a dead man in a coffin. But the defense has performed and played much better. The revamped defense under the direction of Clayton White has been a bright spot for the Gamecocks this year. South Carolina trailing by the score of 13-7 late in the third quarter, or early fourth quarter, had 2 chances to take the lead, but let the golden opportunities again slide by. The first opportunity came when Brad Johnson, one of the Gamecock linebackers, recovered a Kentucky fumble at the 40-yard line of Kentucky. South Carolina was able to drive down to the Kentucky 25, and then Shane Beamer was faced with his first big decision, being the head coach at South Carolina. Do I kick or attempt to kick a 42-yard field goal that would cut the lead to 13-10, or do I go for it with the hopes of keeping the drive alive and maybe going in, scoring a touchdown, kick the extra point, and go up 14-13? Beamer rolled the dice, and the Gamecocks had the right play called. Unfortunately, the receiver who was the ball was intended for on fourth down at the 18-yard line dropped the pass, and the ball was turned over to Kentucky on downs. That's opportunity number 1 that slipped by. The very next series, Gamecock All-SEC performer Kinsley Injabar came up with a fumble recovery, and the Gamecocks had the ball on the Kentucky 47-yard line with another chance. The South Carolina drive did not go very far, and on fourth down from the 40-yard line, South Carolina again went for it rather than maybe punting, trying to punt to put Kentucky deep in their own territory. Coach Beamer went for it again, and the Gamecock receiver, to no surprise to Gamecock fans, dropped the fourth down pass again. So South Carolina, from that point, gave up good field position. Kentucky went down and kicked a field goal to go up 16-7, but South Carolina was able to drive back, and a 54-yard field goal by Parker White cut the score to 16-10 with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. The Kentucky Wildcats and pretty much everybody in the stadium were looking for the onside kick by the Gamecocks because they only had 2 timeouts left in the game. But South Carolina elected to roll the dice again and kicked it deep, but the defense was unable to stop Kentucky, use their outs up, and Kentucky was able to pick up 2 first downs on the ground and ran the clock and came away with a 16-10 SEC division win. The Gamecocks, let's look at both teams right here and see what. First of all, Kentucky has established himself, I think, as a top 3 team in the East. They will have a huge game in Lexington, Kentucky, next Saturday against the 10th-ranked Florida Gators. Kentucky should come in, now that they're 4-0 and 2-0 in conference play, they should come in ranked themselves, though. But I think Kentucky could possibly be a maybe top 2 team in the East. If they can win next Saturday, then I think that they would be a top 2 team with Georgia in the Eastern Division. South Carolina, on the other hand, now dropped to 2-2 on the season, and they play Troy next week. Now, Troy is a team that returns a lot of starters from last year, but on paper, South Carolina should be favored to take care of business at Williams-Brice Stadium next Saturday at 3:30, though. South Carolina finds itself in a situation now that if they want to make it to a bowl and postseason play, that they need to win the games that they are going to be favored in, which Troy will be one next week, and then be able to find a way to steal a couple of other games on their schedule. Now, South Carolina, the next 3 weeks, has got Troy, at Tennessee, and Vandy. South Carolina will have an opportunity to win these next 3 ball games and get to 5 wins, and then from that point on would only have to win one of the last 5 games to have a chance to go to a bowl, though. But the South Carolina defense this year has been much improved. I had the opportunity to talk with Brad Johnson that South Carolina in 4 games has forced the opponent into 9 turnovers already. That's over 2 a game. And ask him, what has been the big difference there? Is it something that you're practicing, something you're doing different there, being coached and all? And he said the defensive coordinator, that Clayton White, is his position coach at linebacker. And he hears it every day that, we're going to play physical, which they're doing, and every chance we get to rip the ball out, we're going to do that. And it's worked because South Carolina has, again, created 9 turnovers so far this year. Another young man who's having a good year for the Gamecock defense is Jalen Foster. Jalen Foster played his high school ball at Burns High School in Spartanburg, South Carolina, where I'm from. Excuse me. And he has intercepted 4 passes already this year. That would have to place him among, if he's not the national leader, he's got to be at the top of the list somewhere. But he has intercepted 4 passes this year for the Gamecocks and done a great job in the secondary. South Carolina's big thing they've got to do is they've got to get the running game going. That South Carolina returned Kevin Harris, who was the leading rusher in the SEC last year. This year, he came back, but he has not been on track. He was slowed by an injury, did not play the first game. But against Kentucky, he only had 12 carries for 38 yards. Last year, he rushed for over 200 yards. The Gamecock running game just is not putting up the numbers that everybody had hoped they would this year, again, with Harris returning, though. I asked Gamecock quarterback Luke Doty, what did he see from the Kentucky defense that was bottling up the running game? And he said that the defensive line was playing a lot of games up front with stunts and things. And again, that was the major thing they did, though. But South Carolina's offensive line has had a lot of misassignments in the first 4 games. Hopefully these can be worked out with a new staff, with new schemes, everything. But again, just a lot of blown assignments the first 4 weeks. If the South Carolina Gamecocks want to be successful and win some of these close games like this, they have got to do a better job up front in the trenches on the offensive line. And this is coming from a former offensive line coach that I coached offensive line, but South Carolina's line is not getting the job done. The Gamecocks, again, if I had to rate them, I'd give them a plus for the first 4 games. They're 2-2, probably where a lot of people thought they would be, but they played a lot better than a lot of people thought they would, and I think they can compete with anybody left on their schedule this year, though. So the measuring stick was out tonight in Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia. The Gamecocks may have lost the game, but I think they're moving in the right direction. You have been watching the Lindy Sports Coach's Corner right here on Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting. We will see you next game. Goodbye, everybody.